So I'm here at the park. I'm in my Canada shirt while Shane plays over there by the creek, and I wanted to comment on a few things I've been noticing here. There's been certain public personalities that have been talking about this current pandemic, this health crisis we've got, and I feel that they're being a bit irresponsible here. Like, basically, when this situation started, I was one of the people who said, "Hey, look, if you want to protect yourself, might want to look into standard precautions, might want to look into airborne precautions. If you do not want to get sick, this is, in theory, how you would go about minimizing your chances of getting sick." But I'm seeing folks actually say things like you should publicly shame someone for wearing a mask or respirator. And that to me sort of crosses the line a little bit. Like you're going from just having a questionable take during a public health crisis to literally telling people to do stuff that could actually get them sick or impact their health in a negative way. And I just want to remind folks that when you've got a potential pandemic, there's a lot of unknown unknowns. You're dealing with imperfect information. When you're in that scenario, you have to take reasonable precautions. That's really the rational response to it. You could wait until there's more data, but if you do that, it may be too late. And I don't particularly think that standard precautions and respiratory precautions are particularly onerous. Like maybe it's from working as advanced EMT for so long and being accustomed to having to deploy those measures myself. I don't find it to be that much of a problem. Maybe it's because as a cyclist, I wear about like 10 different specialty items like bibs and jersey and gloves and special socks and shoes that click into the pedals and a helmet and a thing that goes under the helmet and sunglasses and the whole 9 yards. So to me, putting on some nitrile gloves and a respirator is not that big of a deal comparatively. And in fact, I've got this respirator here. Why do I have that? Well, I got it years ago to avoid getting influenza. This influenza sucks. I don't want influenza. So I bought a respirator and I wore it at work quite often. If I had a patient that I thought had a communicable disease that was potentially airborne, I'd wear a respirator. And that really is something that should be up to the individual. If you want to minimize your chances of getting an airborne communicable disease, by all means, wear a properly fitting respirator, wear gloves, take precautions, have your decon slash quarantine room set up. There is no reason why you shouldn't do those things. And I find it very, very odd and, well, to be honest, just irresponsible for people to be out there publicly saying that you shouldn't do those things. Like, if you want to take precautions, I mean, that's on you. It's not like it's hurting anybody. And looking slightly goofy and avoiding getting a disease that could take you out of action for a few weeks or potentially even kill you, I mean, that's not much of a trade-off if you ask me. Like, sure, I'll look a little bit goofy given the consequences could be so high, and it sort of ties in with the general theme here, which is that if you've got a situation that is like a pandemic where you don't really know how bad it could get or what the long-term effects could be or how widespread it's going to be, then it really sort of behooves you to be cautious. Like, start enacting some sorts of measures here. If it turns out you overreacted and you were too cautious, you're not really paying much in terms of opportunity costs. So I think that if you're commenting on these kinds of issues and you think that, well, maybe this is not going to be that bad of a pandemic, and maybe it's not, maybe less than 100,000 people in the United States will die, it's entirely possible. Even if that's true, you should just be more agnostic about it and just refrain from making your own contrary predictions where you say it's going to be absolutely nothing, because the fact is we don't actually know. And since we don't really know, let's try to be cautious, okay?